Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The ceremony will begin momentarily. We also ask that you please silence or turn off all electronic devices for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the retirement ceremony for Mr. Lauro M. Dungca. And the presiding officer for today's event is General Michael A. Guetlein, Vice Chief of Space Operations, United States Space Force, and former Commander, Space Systems Command. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the musical honors and the playing of the national anthem by Mr. Dungca's grandson, Donovan Batista. The invocation will be given by Chaplain David Godley. Please keep in mind, guests in civilian attire should place their right hand over their heart, while military members in uniform should stand at the position of attention for the duration of the national anthem.
I invite you to join me in a word of prayer. Eternal God, today we gather for this blessed occasion, the retirement of Mr. Lauro Dungca. As he embarks on this new chapter, an unfamiliar path in his life, we pray for the smoothest of all transitions. His outstanding 55 years of service and commitment will never be the same. His influence and presence has been both meaningful and impactful. His leadership and mentorship have influenced many to be better versions of themselves, far beyond what we could count on seeing before that. He set a standard that few will be hard to eclipse. May his leadership impact on this base echo in the months and the years to come. May his compassion and his spirit infectiously spread to all that he encountered along his way. We pray blessings over his son Lauro and daughter Dorothy with her husband Dennis. We ask that you extend those blessings to his grandchildren, Danielle and Donovan. This chapter has been written and is complete, yet his story and that of his family is still unfolding. A hope and a future still await them. May his path be well lit with every provision that's to be secured, and in that, his service and sacrifice will always be in our minds and our hearts. This we pray and believe in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Donovan Batista and Captain Godley. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Before we proceed any further, I would like to recognize some very special guests joining us today. Please hold your applause until all guests have been introduced. The Commander, Space Systems Command, Lieutenant General Philip Garant, Mr. Dungca's son, Lauro, his daughter, Dorothy Batista, her husband, Dennis, and their children, Danielle and Donovan. And joining us in spirit is Mr. Dungca's late wife, Carmencita. Joining us virtually is Mr. Dungca's grandson, Captain Dionisio Batista, United States Air Force, who is currently deployed to Saudi Arabia. We also welcome all commanders, directors, deputy directors, family, chiefs, members, friends, and the members of Space Systems Command joining both in person and virtually. Thank you for sharing this special occasion. Today, we will be celebrating the retirement of Mr. Lauro Dungca, who has faithfully and honorably served his country for 55 years. At this time, we invite General Guetlein to come forward and say a few words.
How is everybody doing this morning?
Great.
What an amazing day. First of all, it's great to be back with the family. Phil, thanks for letting me come back. Really wasn't much of a choice. First of all, it was the Pentagon, and I wanted out of there as bad as I could. It's coming back to the family, so I'm glad to be here, but more importantly, to get to celebrate Larry is a tremendous honor. You know, I've done a lot of really cool things in my career. Had dinner at the top of the Eiffel Tower with the French MOD. I walked the beaches of Normandy. Just had breakfast in the White House with the president. And I even got to promote Buzz Aldrin right outside those doors to Brigadier General. But this has to be the coolest thing I've ever got to do. And I'm so honored to be presiding over the ceremony today. Today we're celebrating the retirement of a longtime friend of mine after 68 years of service to his nation. 56 of that in the federal government and an additional 10 years in industry serving this nation honorably. Mr. Larry Dungca. Larry, I don't know how you did it. This room is a testament to the impact that you had in the lives of those you worked with, and I am so honored to be up here today with you. And I'm also so happy that your friends and relatives could be here. So let me start with recognizing the family. So your son, Lauro, thank you for being here today. It's a great big deal. Your daughter, Dorothy, who helped us kind of pull this together and kind of talk about how hard that can be for a career and a life that spans 90 years. It's a challenge. Your husband, Larry, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service as a firefighter. That's a big deal. So thank you for your service to our country as well. Your granddaughter, Danielle, we're right here on the front. Thank you for being here today. Donovan, the amazing national anthem. Thank you very much. That was awesome. And I know it takes a little bit to get up in front of an audience like this that you've never met before and do that, but it means a great deal to us and especially to your grandfather for being here. And I hope that DJ's dialed in as well. DJ and I met a long time ago. He went off to the Air Force Academy, graduated, and now flying KC-135s out of Spokane. and is currently deployed to Afghanistan, not Afghanistan, to Saudi Arabia. So hey DJ, thank you for your service. Thank you for dialing in here today. I will tell you, I had the opportunity to have a telecon with your granddad on Friday, and the number one thing he wanted was for you to be here. You were in his heart and in his mind, so I'm greatly glad and appreciate you dialing in here today and hanging with us. So appreciate that, and thank you for your service. I also want to give special mention today to Carmen Dungca. Carmen was Larry's late wife. She passed away last year. She was always by Larry's side. I remember her and I had many conversations at different dinners and different banquets and different events throughout the year. And I'll tell you, no matter when I talked to her, she always beamed with pride over Larry and his accomplishments. She was very proud of him, and to her end, she kept saying, he's in the United States Air Force, he's in the United States Space Force, he's still working, and he is making a significant difference. In March of last year, they got to actually go share a once-in-a-lifetime event. Carmen accompanied Larry to witness one of his greatest achievements was the launch of GEO-6, SBIR's GEO-6. It had taken us a while to get there, Larry. We had seen 6 of those launch, and it was the last of a kind. And she got to travel down there with you to Cape Canaveral and watch that launch. And I will tell you, she was extremely proud of the lifetime of commitment that you had made in the defense of this nation. So I wish she could be here, but I know she's here in spirit, so thank you. I also want to thank our DVs, Phil. Thank you for allowing us to be up here today, and for all of our commanders and directors and civilian and military leaders. I want to give a shout out to the narrator. Thank you. It's going to be a little bit of a ceremony, so I appreciate you volunteering to do that. Donovan for the anthem, the invocation, Chaplain Godley. He probably has already gone off to save other people. It's good seeing you again. I greatly appreciate it. You always have the best words, so thank you very much. Audio visual. Greg has been making me look good for about 30 years. So Greg, thank you very much for doing this and for making it all come together, especially for being a DJ to us from Saudi Arabia. It's a big deal. And those AOs that planned this, Lieutenant Choi had to meet me at the airport last night, get me in here. He's been planning this ceremony from the sidelines, making sure everything goes as planned behind it, and it's been spectacular. So thank you, Lieutenant Choi. Where's Jessica Hosang at? Jessica, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you pulling this together and honoring Larry today. It is a huge deal. And then Captain Yup, someplace. Thank you very much for bringing this together. It takes a lot to pull these off. It is as complex as a wedding. So I greatly appreciate the 3 of you working hard behind the scenes to make all this come together. So retirements are a big deal. Every single retirement is a big deal. It's our opportunity to recognize the individual for the service to their nation and all their sacrifices. It's also our opportunity to tell the family what the individual did and what the impact that they had on our national defense. Larry missed a lot of family events over the years, and I think it's only fair that we spend a few minutes today actually communicating to you why he wasn't there for those family events and the impact that he was having while he was missing your kids growing up events, as well as your grandkids, and family dinners and et cetera. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that today. It's also an opportunity to communicate to the broader team, what does it take to be successful, and what are the sacrifices that people are giving to the national defense, so that you can understand as you progress throughout your career, what did it take to get to this point? You know, how hard did you have to work? What was the knowledge like that we expected you to build? And then what were those systems like? We're going to talk about all that today. But like I said, today is extra special because we're going to talk about 68 years worth of service to this nation. And I can think no better an example of a patriot, a gentleman, an expert at his craft, a husband, a father, than Larry Dungca. He is just the epitome of what we all should strive to be. He's a shining example of the quality of our civil servants, the skills that they bring to the team, and just how critical they are to our national defense. In every branch of the military, our civilians provide the operational stability and the unit continuity we need to fulfill our mission. and with more than 6 decades of service, Larry is a shining example of service. I first met Larry in 1999 when I was a captain, and I counted him as a teammate, a technical mentor, and especially a friend ever since. I'm extremely honored to be up here today, and I'm honored to share his career with you. I get to preside over a lot of these type of ceremonies, and every single one of them is just a tad little bit different. In many ways, they are a lot like an archaeological dig, discovering decades of lost treasures and lost accomplishments. They are a story waiting to be told, and Larry's is no different. But I'm going to warn you now, it's 90 years worth of history that we're going to talk about today. So you will not hurt my feelings at any point during this ceremony if you say, hey, I gotta take a break and go do something else. Because I think it's only fitting that I spend time today going through Larry's history and talk about Larry's story. And it's a significant one. It's impactful. It made a significant difference to our national defense, and it continues to make a significant difference in the world that we live in today. Like many Americans, including my own, Larry's story began outside of the United States. He was born in the Philippines on August 6, 1933, over 90 years ago. It was a happy time in the Philippines as they were closing in on independence. In 1934, soon after Larry was born, President Roosevelt signed the bill that put the Philippines on the path to becoming fully independent. The country was in celebration. Unfortunately, a few years later, in 1941, World War II came dramatically to his native land with the invasion of Japan. Larry, at the time, was only 8. As a result, Larry grew up exposed to the travesties of war. Within minutes of the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Japanese airplanes bombed Manila and nearby American military bases in the Philippines. At the early age of 8, Larry witnessed the Battle of Bataan and the Bataan Death March, and lived through the years of brutal Japanese occupation. The Battle of Bataan represented the most intense fighting during the Japanese invasion. It was a bloody hand-to-hand fight for 3 solid long months until the U.S. surrendered on April 9, 1942. 76,000 soldiers surrendered in the largest surrender in American and Filipino history. Soon afterwards, U.S. and Filipino prisoners of war were forced into the Bataan Death March that we've all read about in the history books, and Larry was there personally observing it. The Japanese wanted to move the prisoners and the refugees to the north, but there wasn't enough transport. They needed to move more than 60,000 starved, sick, and injured prisoners and over 38,000 equally weakened civilian non-combatants. So they made them march 100 at a time. Bataan Death March was a forcible transfer of 75,000 American Filipino prisoners of war. The total distance they were forced to march was 65 miles without water and without food. The march was enjoined by severe physical abuse and wanton killings. POWs who fell to the ground were shot instantly. Of the estimated 80,000 that started the march, only 54,000 made it to the end. Marching side by side them, trying to pass them water and take care of them, was Larry at 8 years old. He was trying to take care of his fellow Filipinos and his fellow Americans during that death march. He personally saw the brutality at the age of 8, if you can imagine that, going forward. During the occupation, to combat the Japanese, guerrilla groups formed to harass the Japanese forces and the puppet government that they had installed. Larry's dad, Faustino Dungca, became a guerrilla fighter after the Japanese killed 2 of his brothers who were in the Filipino army. Faustino survived and passed away in 1989 at the age of 89. During the occupation, Larry used to have to go near the prison camps to get food and water for his family, and he would sneak food to the prisoners. At an early age, he was already trying to help those in need. That's the kind of boy Larry was, and the kind of man that Larry would grow up to be. And 2 of those soldiers that he saved were 2 of his relatives that continue to live beyond the war. In 1944, when Larry was about 11, General MacArthur returned to the islands with the United States Army, and after the bloody Battle of Manila, the islands were declared liberated once more. More than 1 million Filipinos died in that war. On July 4th, 1946, the Republic of the Philippines became an independent nation. The 4th of July has an extra special meaning to Larry. In 1947, when Larry was 13, the United States built a naval and an Air Force base in the Philippines. The bases would prove to be the U.S.'s Cold War strategy, part of the U.S.'s Cold War strategy in Asia, and would be the eventual leaping off point for Larry's service to our nation. While in high school and in college, the Korean War was raging and Larry was watching it on TV. Once again, he was exposed to war at an early age. In 1956, at the age of 23, Larry received his bachelor's degree from the Philippines in electrical engineering. And in 1958, as the Vietnam War was starting, Larry made a pivotal decision. He wanted to serve his country. He chose to join the U.S. Navy as a civil servant at the U.S. Navy Communications Station in the Philippines as a supervisory electronics engineer. The U.S. Naval Communications Station provided communication to U.S. ships in the local operating area, and during Vietnam, all communications from Vietnam to the United States mainland were routed through that naval station that Larry worked at by an undersea cable. Larry was responsible for installing communication systems on ships, on bases, and he's responsible for sustaining them. Larry continued to work his way up the ladder and was the advisor to the operations officer and the commanding officer, and eventually became the station's senior Filipino supervisor, responsible for the activities of 130 civilian employees. And in the back, Larry was telling us and his family that for their part-time activity, they used to try to decrypt the Chinese signals coming out of the Chinese mainland. That was their hobby in their free time. In 1974, 1 year before the fall of Saigon and the end of the Vietnam War, Larry made another life-altering decision. He and his family decided to move to the U.S. mainland, and he took an engineering job with the Parsons Corporation here in Los Angeles. Working in industry, Larry supported the military in a new capacity and as a technical advisor on many of the nation's naval, air, and space systems supporting the Cold War. In 1984, he returned to the DoD, this time to serve the United States Air Force. From 1984 to 1988, he served as a program manager and a project engineer for the Air Force Contract Management Division here in Los Angeles. The Contract Management Division oversaw industry's performance in various manufacturing locations spread out across Southern California to include naval, air, and space systems. Larry was the communications and electrical technical advisor across the various industries here in the South Bay. This was a position that required the kind of professional that Larry had become: a highly competent engineer, an excellent technician, and a strong and capable manager of people and processes. In 1988, Larry was picked to transfer to Los Angeles Air Force Base to work on the world's most sophisticated and at that time highly classified missile warning satellites. For those that don't know what a missile warning satellite is, it's a satellite that spots the launch of a ballistic missile and immediately relays that information to the ground, enabling those targeted to retaliate, take cover, or possibly shoot down that missile. The satellites were developed to track ICBMs being launched out of Russia and to warn the president and the nation of a pending attack. The satellites had to be able to see a rocket plume from 22,000 miles away. So think about that. You're seeing a small candlestick from 22,000 miles away. That's how technically advanced these satellites were. Additionally, they had to be able to identify the type of the rocket, determine where it came from, where it was at any point in its flight, and determine where it was going to impact the Earth. And they had to do it all in under 10 minutes while traveling 17,000 miles an hour. In 1989, a significant upgrade to the Defense Support Program satellite began, and Larry was on the team. The satellites were barrel-shaped with 4 solar panels that extended to their rear. They weighed over 5,000 pounds, were 32 feet tall, and 22 feet in diameter. They rotated like a spinning top in orbit for stabilization. They housed a large telescope in the middle that swept across the face of the Earth 6 times every minute. This allowed it to image the missile in flight every 10 seconds, anywhere on the planet, any time of the day, tracking its trajectory. Larry's job was to help design the complicated computers and communication systems that made it all work. With the improved DSP satellites, we soon discovered that the satellites could spot other heat sources besides just missiles. to include forest fires, surface-to-air missiles, and even military aircraft and afterburner. The U.S. Navy also began to use the DSP system to warn of the Soviet bomber attacks on their carriers. In 1991, Larry was there during Desert Storm, and we used DSP to warn of Scud missiles. The intelligence was shared with our allies like Israel during the conflict and set the stage for our modern-day capabilities that Larry has always been directly involved in. Larry was at the heart of all of these technological marvels. In the late 1990s, the Air Force moved on to the space-based infrared missile warning satellites, or SBIRS for short. These satellites have proved to be orders of magnitude more complex and capable than their predecessor DSP satellites. Larry continued to be responsible for the communications systems. In fact, Larry went on to become the program's communications and cryptologic expert, responsible for ensuring secure and reliable communications between the ground and the satellites. He was also the Cryptologic Control Authority, or CCA, responsible for the communication security hardware on the ground and in space, a highly classified and closely controlled technology. I argue that this area of expertise was the most complex part of the system, and Larry never tired trying to teach me about it. And I never did pick it up. It was that complex. Larry has been the technical authority for anything related to transmission security, communication security, cryptography for over 10 years. His absence will be felt across the entire DoD enterprise. One only needs to look at the awards and recognition he received throughout his career to see the sheer impact that he had. From 1988 through 2020, he won numerous civilian performance and monetary awards. In 2006 and in 2010, he won the Senior Civilian of the Year award. In 2013, he was a recipient of the 58th Annual Department of the Defense Distinguished Civilian Award. Over his career, he has held many other distinctions, but I'd like to recognize Larry in a little bit of a different way. I'd like to take a moment to step back and celebrate his love for life and family, then hear from a couple of his supervisors and coworkers from over the years. First, he and Carmen used to travel every year. Together, they visited 65 different countries. I think I've got like 5. 65 is incredible, Larry. Even today, Larry's not about to lay down his passport. He's looking forward to a cruise to Asia and plans to visit the Philippines before the end of the year. Larry also loved family camping trips and would go several times a year with his children and his grandchildren. Between June 2011 and August of 2014, I skipped a sentence, sorry. He's always been deeply committed to his family and his grandchildren. I had the privilege of working with him on 4 separate assignments in my time. But between 2011 and August of 2014, I was the colonel in space-based infrared, and Larry worked for me. At the time, we were trying to negotiate the $3 billion deal to build 2 new satellites. Larry was a crucial team member of mine, and he crafted the cost and the technology estimates for the communication subcomponents, which I'll argue still were the most complex parts of the satellite. Larry's always did things by the book, never cutting corners. He knows every relevant military regulation, and he will quote them for verse to you. And with his help, when we finished that negotiations, we saved $1 billion, and a significant part of that savings was in the communication system. And it wasn't just me. Getting ready for today, I asked around. General Roger Teague, who used to command the same program, echoes the same sentiments, Larry. He quotes, "I certainly remember Larry well during the time together in SBIRS, and I've always 1 in a million and a great example of an SSC employee who has made an impact in big ways." Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Gray, his immediate supervisor from 2013 to 2015, said Larry was a dedicated employee, a team player, and an unfailingly kind human being. During that time, Jeff Gray reported to Colonel Marcus Stefano. Is Marcus here? I was hoping he could make it. Marcus had to say, Larry always had the solution to any problem that he raised. He was always working with his close network of trusted people and was always able to reach a deal. I was always amazed by his network of people. He seemed to know everybody everywhere. He always had a highly disciplined demeanor and a bearing. He loved his family and was so proud of their accomplishments. Larry spent time training and understudied to learn from him, and he took seriously the need to pass down his many years of knowledge. Larry is a true professional, a great American, and a wonderful human being. It was my honor to serve with him. Larry's final supervisor, Robert Volker, had this to say about Larry. As my lead in the cryptological area, Larry was exceptional, ensuring that we had all the appropriate cryptological solutions. Larry was and is a patriot, people-oriented, skilled at coordinating with people, and cared about people he worked with. And finally, Errol Lewis. Is Errol here? Also hoping he could make it today. Errol Lewis had to say, at the time Larry came to work with me, I was a deputy division chief, and his office was 2 doors down from me. Although I did not work with Larry before he arrived, I had heard about him and that he was a subject matter expert on crypto equipment. He was very good at his job. He was also very good at relationships with the crypto organizations as well as the National Security Agency. Family was very important to Larry, and he loved to talk about his children and his grandchildren. I remember how excited he was that one of his grandchildren, DJ, got accepted to the United States Air Force Academy, and he couldn't wait to rush in to tell me about it since I also had graduated from the Air Force Academy. Based on those that had the honor of working and serving with Larry, I will tell you, he is a one of a kind, a family man, a faithful man, a punctual man, a rules man, a kind man, a people person, an expert in his field, an honorable man, and a patriot. More than 60 years ago, despite having grown up under the tragedy of war, Larry Dungca was determined to serve his country and made a difference in this world. He never looked back. Larry, I want you to know that you made a difference and that we are all safer today because of your service. Over the years, thousands of service members returned home safe because of the systems you helped us build. Let me close with the latest example from Israel. On April 13th, Iran launched nearly 110 medium-range ballistic missiles, 30 cruise missiles, and 170 one-way attack drones at Israel. Your missile warning system satellites were on watch and rapidly alerted the force in theater and our allies of the massive launch. Because of those systems, 99% of those threats were eliminated and no one was seriously hurt. That is unheard of in our line of business. Because of the systems, you dedicated your life to fielding. Those individuals stayed safe. One of those satellites was SBIRS Geo-6. When a 6th SBIRS satellite was launched, you were there with Carmen, and you stated, I'm super excited, I cannot express it. I feel that I have done my duty, and I have done my share for democracy. Larry, that is an understatement. It has been my honor to serve by your side. On behalf of the United States Air Force, the United States Space Force, the United States Navy, and a grateful nation, thank you for your service. We all wish you fair winds and following seas, and Semper Super.
Thank you, General Guetlein. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the reading of the Outstanding Civilian Career Service Award citation and remain standing for the reading of the retirement statement. Attention to orders. This award is presented to Mr. Lauro Dungca in recognition of his distinguished performance in support of the Department of the Air Force from 1984 to 2004, most notably as Cryptography Manager, Engineering Division, Space Systems Directorate, Space Systems Command, Los Angeles Air Force Base, California. Mr. Dungca led the development and certification of advanced cryptography systems to enable secure and effective operations of the nation's missile warning satellites. Mr. Dungca led the cryptography team for the space-based infrared system over a period of 27 years, managing the development, integration, testing, and certification of cryptography systems and keys for 6 satellites, 4 hosted payloads, 2 ground stations, and 4 mobile control systems that will form the backbone of the nuclear warning system for the next 20 years. Further, Mr. Dungca managed the cryptography development for the next generation overhead persistent infrared system, facilitating the rapid acquisition of 4 resilient missile warning satellites to provide improved detection and tracking of intercontinental and theater missiles. Finally, Mr. Dungca spearheaded development of encryption systems for the future of operational resilient ground evolution program, enabling the rapid fielding of a modernized modular control system to provide command and control of the missile warning satellite constellation, along with improved data fusion, tracking, and reporting of missile launch events. The distinctive accomplishments of Mr. Dungca culminate a long and distinguished career with the United States government and reflect great credit upon himself and the Department of the Air Force. General Guetlein will now retire Mr. Lauro Dungca. Mr. Lauro M. Dungca, Space Sensing Directorate, Space Systems Command, Los Angeles Air Force Base, California, is retired from employment with the Department of the Air Force effective 30 April after more than 55 years of faithful and honorable service. Thank you, General Guetlein. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, it is my honor to present Mr. Lauro M. Dungca, United States Air Force, retired.
This is it. I guess for the last time, I'm looking on all the gentlemen, ladies, in military and civilian. God bless you all, and God be with you and your family. I have something here that I would like to express what I think about what this group did to me, to the world, and for God of our country. God bless us. My friends, my colleagues, and guests, they call me Larry. And then I said, Laurie. No, it's Larry. I said, at any rate, God bless us because of this, I was actually baptized as Lauro, not Lad. But that has been my nickname up to now. I'm still using that. You wouldn't know it by looking at me. I said that you're not old. Well, what then? You are too old. So I said, okay, that's good enough. You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I've been working for the Department of Defense longer than some of you who have been alive. I'm proud to say I have dedicated over 56 years of my life to this career. I will briefly take you back to my first post in the Philippines. I started my career in 1958. I don't know if some of you have been born or... In 1958, I started the work to become later on as the supervisory electronics engineer at the U.S. Naval Communications Station, overseeing some about 130 civilians. During my time there, I met numerous enlisted individuals, the officers, and contractors alike, some of which I'm still in contact today. In fact, lots of them here looking at me and say, he's not too old, he's just as old as my grandfather. In 1970, former President Marcos Sr. established what we call martial law. By that time, I had already worked for the U.S. Navy for at least 16 years, since I had been working for the U.S. government. My family and I were granted special permission to migrate to the U.S. So off we moved to Sunnyside, California, where we have stayed and so continued my career working for the Department of Defense. I'm retiring as the Remote Sensing Directorate Cryptologic Controlling Authority and Cryptographic Point of Contact for any directorate development activity that involves communication security, hardware used for either encryption or transcription security. So what does this boil? It boils down to what I really don't know, but I just keep on going. Now, I am the proud grandfather of a Filipino U.S. Air Force captain. I think you have seen him on it. So he cannot come duty first, but because of our what we call it technology, we were able to get in touch. He was able to get and look at us. There he is. Hello there, Captain. There he is, proud. I'm not proud. Not proud. Super proud. Now, I share this to acknowledge how far my family came, how far we have done. That's why whenever I think about my idol, I will always say shout out, long live, mabuhay! That's what I would say to myself. That is how we are outside, outclass any other nation because we love this country. Now, excuse me. Now, not many people may know this about me, but I was supposed to attend when we were in the Philippines. I took all the examination and whatnot. I was about to attend the Philippine Military Academy at that time. And to go to that school, it's really a good accomplishment. But because of politics, I was out there. I did not bail out. They bailed me out. So there it is. But what happened? Instead of the Philippines, here I am. Here we are, doing our part. Because this country is full of good people, good, loving people, that we always look to each other. We always say, thank you, and we always say, what can I do for you? That is what we've been trying to prove to other nations. We love our country. We know what other people want, and we try to help. Not waiting for them to ask. I cannot thank the Department of Defense enough for all the opportunities I have had over past few decades, allowing my family to immigrate to the United States during a time of political unrest in the Philippines, working at 3 different branches of government. How many people can say that? Giving me time off to spend with my family and with much more. And I certainly would not be up here talking to you today had it not been for the support of my friends, family, and loved ones. To my colleague, I know a lot of them here, and find solutions together. We try to solve everything that we can. If not, we ask each other. We ask those people who knows about it. And what we do is important. And if everyone here had a security clearance, I could say more. That's all. I'll go into more detail. Lastly, I would say numerous people have asked me what I plan to do in my retirement. And the answer is simple. With all these loving people here, with all those people and friends ready to help each other, that I would say I have spent my golden years surrounded by good company. Lots of you, all of you. What did I do? I asked the Almighty. That's all I said. I just look up and say, God the Father, you're my God. Thank you much. And so, thank you for all these last 56 years. I really cherish our time together. I will say this in Lauro, in our language, because there are some Filipino years that I've never forget. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat, lalong-lalo na sa mga tulong na pinagkaloob ninyo sa akin. Ari naway pagkalooban kayo ng mabuting kinabukasan, 10 ng inyong mga mahal sa buhay. I know most of you didn't understand that. I didn't say anything except good things. Loving things. Because what you have done, what you have said, what you say and say more and more, that we all Americans, we all love our country. And with God, with the help of God, we will succeed. We will help our neighbor because we love them. That is what God said. And I always follow the commandments of God, the 11 commandments of God. That's what I follow every day. And what is that? Just follow the 10 commandments. That's all. So, with that, I say in Tagalog, sa ngalan ng Diyos Ama, Diyos Anak, at Diyos Espiritu Santo, siya nawa. I did not say anything except love my neighbor, love God, and say, I love you, darling. That's all you have to say every day, every morning. And that is our, we call it, my wife and I, our password. I love you, darling. Every morning, I never forget that. I never forget holding their hands. That's why when she got sick, I never leave the place, and I was with her every day. I never miss. That I could say, please, say, I love you, darling. I love you, honey. That's all you have to say every day. And everything will be up there belonging God, Father, our Father. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the chance to say what I want to say. Thank you to all of you, not only those who are not here, but for all our neighbors. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping your neighbor. Thank you for saying we all love our neighbor. Salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dungca. At this time, will Dorothy Batista please come up on stage for a boutonniere presentation in honor of Carmencita Dungca. Thank you, Dorothy. Next, Mrs. Jessica Hosing will present Mr. Dungca a flag of the United States of America. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Traditionally a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both home and abroad. Today, our flag flies on constellations of United States Space Force satellites that circle our globe. This particular flag flew over Los Angeles Air Force Base. It is imbued with the Space Systems Command's legacy of resiliency and superiority in space, a legacy Mr. Dungca has helped forge. Please accept this flag as a thank you for your selfless service. Finally, Dr. David Hazelton, Space Sensing Directorate of Engineering, present Mr. Dungca a farewell gift on behalf of the Space Sensing Directorate.
Okay. Hey Larry, so you've been an institution in the Space Sensing Directorate since 1988, Space Sensing Directorate in several different predecessor organizations. So on behalf of Colonel Davis and the people of the Space Sensing Directorate, would like to give you this present. So this is an armillary sphere. It's similar to the sculpture and it depicts the orbits, and so what you've done has been very instrumental to attaining our orbiting satellites. So this is kind of a symbol of what you've done for us for the since 1988. So on behalf of Colonel Davis and the Space Sensing Director, thank you for 55 incredible years.
Thank you, Dr. Hazelton. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of Semper Supra, followed by the departure of the official party.
They got you prepared. Picture. Picture.
Nice.
The other one's a picture.
This one a picture?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So that you're going to be in the left side. Left side.
Let this in. It's fine.
That everyone? One, two, three.
I get one, just the family.
Oh, all right. One, two, three.
Picture, picture.
General.
Yes. Oh, you want
What do you do?
We're all gonna come say hi now. Okay? Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, just you can go this way. We're going to stand in front.
to need your bag? That's the one. Thank you, sir.
Oh, wala.
Yeah, all done. Is there anything on?
This is the one.
Ayaw muna, ayaw muna.
All right, Larry, you stay seated. You stay seated. We come to you. All right. So we'll see you on Monday, right? I don't think you're ever stopping.
Congratulations, Larry.
Oh, yes.
All the years.
And my counterpart. My counterpart.
Counterpart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it's for. If it's feasible, I'd like to go.
Oh, you're finally doing it. Very good.
It's Kelly Cunningham. She's supporting the mission.
Thank you.
Oh, have fun traveling, okay? Stay young, okay?
God bless you.
Salamat.
Oh,
We're so happy that
yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Congratulations on retirement.
Thank you so much for your service and honor your work.
Thank you. Oh my God! Congratulations, my friend. I thought you were hanging around with Omega.
Congratulations. Long time. I used to be down the hall from you. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming. Salamat, nakagalo.
Larry, congratulations. Outstanding. Yeah. Thank you for your service. Larry, great to see you, buddy. Congrats. Congratulations. Awesome ceremony. Ceremony. That's incredible. Thanks, Larry. Mr. Dungca. Yes, you did.
Yes,
Thank you for coming. The GD Dynamics next week.
Congratulations, Mr. Dungca. Best wishes in your retirement.
I know. I said, oh, and my new boss is there now. Thank you for attending.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Captain.
Boy, you did good up there. You really did good. I'm so proud of you. God bless.
We are very proud of you. That speech you gave was
Okay. Hey, there you are. Thank you for attending.
Of course. Good speech. Good speech. Congratulations.
nicely done.
My neighbor.
Congratulations, man. So we have somebody that's in your old office now. It's weird to go in there and not see every crypto device written on the board. Hey, thanks. Pleasure working with you.
So good to see you. Congratulations on your retirement.
You made it here.
I'm gonna miss it. Thank you. Thank you for everything. God bless.
God bless.
God bless. Mr. Dunn. Love you.
Thank you for sharing. Congratulations on your career.
Thank you.
Thank you. My first time I know you, I was born at the festival.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I love the country, the people. When we lost the country in 1975, Saigon, Vietnamese, Philippines has opened wide their arms to accept us. I never forget. Thank you. And you are?
I'm his daughter.
Huh?
Oh, my old friend. Colonel.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah. Still healthy.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
I know,
inspirational story.
Congratulations.
Giving you a hug. Hey, thank you for your service. Inspired us all. Thank you. On behalf of the SNR, I want you to have our SNR goes on. What's that? That's for you.
Wow, it's nice.
Congratulations. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
How long would you say that? Looking sharp.
Look at that.
Yeah, thanks for all the great work. It's been, I've really enjoyed working.
Congratulations, okay? Yes.
Oh,
Picture with Crystal, okay?
I don't know. Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Take a picture.
You want to take a picture with us?
Yes.
Mr. Dungca, have a great retirement.
Tech support.
Yeah, tech support, yeah.
Truly an inspiration. It's okay. I've got your whole story. Best of luck. Best safe travels. You want to take a picture with us? Of course. You want me in the picture? Congratulations. Congratulations.
sir. Oh my God, it's so wonderful to see you.
My good friend from the Navy.
Navy from the Philippines. Yes.
These are my good friends from the Navy back in the Philippines. Yes. Major council. I know her.
2 bars?
Thank you for
Yes, we were doing great, and then we got enjoyed the season. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Leary. And we did you see BJ was on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know we got quite close to the beginning, but we didn't.
Congratulations, finally. Yes. Nice to see you.
I'm glad you came in. Sir,
I work in the front office. This is congratulations. Congratulations. I'm Brian Rose.
I'm lucky after you. Among the roses.
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you for
Congratulations. Sorry we didn't get to work together very long, but I appreciate what you gotta do.
you should have seen me how
I am.
Babute.
Your mother, that was gorgeous. Yeah, we were. It was a beautiful. We were fast. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for all your service and for our country and families, everything.
Oh, okay.
No, you sticking still. Give me my hug. Oh, I love you. And your grandson, I'm going to train for you. Your dad is nice. Everything is already okay. I'm sorry. He is already okay. It's already okay. It's already okay. I want you to sit down. You've been standing up too long. Let's sit up here. Can you move that bag? I want him to sit down. He's been standing. Oh, you need to hug.
Oh, no, I just want to say congratulations.
He's in a little shape. He needs to sit down. He's got to sit down.
I got to sit.
Come on.
Now it's not.
You're good, Larry. And I'm going to get your number again so I can send you all these pictures.
Please.
Or your email, probably.
Yeah.
And is now the financial manager for the airport. Getting ready to retire his job.
Why now only? I should have known this. I didn't work.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Just want to introduce you to
Your many decades of service. So it's exciting to be able to